Okay, now let's take a look at these headlight insets here. If we go back to the front view with the 1 key, and I'll hit the Z key and go to wireframe again. And let's take a look at these right here. Now, it looks like I should be able to insert an edge loop for the top, the side, the bottom here, and then we could extrude in to get this inset here. Actually, let's take a look at a reference image, kind of a 3/4 view, to see if we can get a better sense of this. I'm going to open this up just a bit, and I'm going to click right here and create a new window. Just pull down and create a whole new window here. And then I'm going to change what kind of window it is with this menu right here. And we've got a lot of options here, but what I want is this image editor right here. So let's click that. And now I'm going to go to image and open. And if I go to my reference images folder right here, I've got all the reference images that we're going to use for the project. But if I click this right here, then I can see each of the images. Let's take a look at this one maybe. Let me open this up. And yeah, let's look at this. So here is that inset right here. This is what we're going to try and get. I'm not going to get that curve right there and some of these curves around the edges because I don't want to add that much geometry to this. Being a game vehicle, I'm going to keep it pretty low poly. But we're going to just try and get these basic shapes. So what let's do is go ahead and press Control R over here, and I'm going to click and move up and kind of get this top part right in here. And then I'll press Control R and let's click here and move it over so we get this right here. Let's do that again, Control R, and I'm going to bring it right over to there. So we've got that part right there. And then over on the bottom here, I'm going to press Control R and put this right here. So what I've done, let's go back to the solid view so we can see what I've done here. All I've done is just created edge loops to kind of block out a rectangular shape here where the headlights are going to go. That's all I did. So I inserted this edge, this edge, this edge, and this edge. So what let's do now is create kind of an angled piece. I just want to create an edge going from here to here. And I can't really do that with the Control R loop cut tool. It only goes perpendicular to selected edges. I can't do it diagonally. To do it diagonally, what we need is a knife tool. And of course, Blender comes with a knife tool. So if I hit the K key, I can just hover over an edge and you can see where I'm going to place this, and I'll click. And then I'll bring it up here and find a place on this edge, maybe right in here, and I'll click here as well. Now, all I've got to do is hit the Enter key, and that creates that edge. All right, so let's go back to the solid view now, and there it is. There's that edge that we just created right there. So now what I want to do is take this face right here. I'll hit the 3 key and select that, and I'm just going to extrude it back. I'm going to hit E and click, and then I'm going to drag back in the Y-axis, and there we go. So there's that inset. The next thing I want to do is create these insets for the grill. And the grill, we're not going to model all of these pieces. We're going to use a texture. We're going to go into Substance Painter and find a texture that we can use for this. But let's go back to that front view and let's take a look at it from here. Hit the Z key, go to wireframe, and it looks like we've already got, I'm going to hit the 1 key here. It looks like we've already got the edges for the top and the bottom here, and even some of these pieces here. So if I take this, I'm just going to grab the x-axis and move it like this. I can kind of create that angled piece like this. And maybe I could even take this and just slide it over, and I'll get kind of that angled piece as well there. In addition, maybe I could grab this and move this over here, and grab this and move this over here to kind of block out that as well, just using existing edges. And then maybe, let me try this. If I took this edge and just moved it straight down, actually instead of using the Z-axis here, I'm going to hit G 2 times so I can use that slide tool. And maybe just move this down like this so it kind of blocks out that shape there. Yeah, let's give that a try. I'm going to hit Z, go back to solid, and there we go. So now if I hit the 3 key, you can see that's the shapes that we're going to get from this. And I think that's pretty good. I think that's what we want. So what let's do once again is just hit the E key, and then I'm going to click, and then I'm going to drag straight back in that Y-axis like that. There we go. All right. Actually, that may be too much. It looks like I don't need to go that deep. Now, do I? Let's press Control Z a ways and get back to there, and then I'm going to push these back forward. We really don't need to go that far in for these. Okay, there we go. Now we're getting a little bit of artifacting around in here with these edges. I don't know if I can maybe come back over here to the object data panel and play with the normals degrees to get this any cleaner. Well, if we go down to 55, that cleans that up pretty well. Yeah, so that's not bad. Okay. In addition, I'd kind of like to change the viewport display here. It's beginning to get a little bit difficult to see some of these extrusions. So what I'm going to do is come over here and pull this menu down. And there's a couple of things that we can try. We're currently using this studio lighting. And what we could do is come down and click on cavity. And that kind of helps us see the edges a little bit better. Not quite what I'm looking for, though. We could change the type of cavity from screen to world. And that's not bad. I can see these extrusions, these insets, a little better now as I tumble around. That's not bad. Let's see what else we have. I'm going to turn cavity off, and let's go back up here and go to matte cap. We'll do that. And yeah, that's not bad either. We could select this sphere icon here and try another matte cap. Could try, oh, that's the one we already have. How about this one here? Ooh, I don't like that. Yeah, I'm not sure about any of these. I don't think I like any of these others. We could try this. No, I don't think I like those. I'm going to go back to Studio, and I'm going to turn on Cavity. There, I'm going to use that for now. It may slow down our viewport a bit as we continue to add more geometry, but at least for now, I think that looks pretty good. All right, well, let's go ahead and work on the side of the fender here. If I tab into edit mode, let's just alt-click this edge. Oh, let me hit the 2 key, and then alt-click this edge. Now if I hit the 3 key, we can begin extruding this in to get this area right here. So what let's do is just hit the E key and then click. And what I'm going to do is scale in toward this pivot point. So I'll hit the S key and then scale in just a bit like this. Not too much, something like this. And then I'm going to hit the G key and move these down a bit like this. So you can see I've kind of aligned this point right here. Maybe I could scale in a little bit more and do that again and move it right to there. There we go. Now what I can do is hit the 1 key and come in here and begin moving individual points around to match up with the image of the fender. So maybe I'll bring this up into here like this and hit this, bring that there like this. So I can just begin rearranging these vertices to get the curve of the fender. Maybe bring that to there. Grab this one, bring that to there. Something like this, just to get the basic shape of it, that's all. All right, let's tumble around and see how we did. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. It looks like we've got a point here that's kind of sticking up a little too high. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, so maybe I could grab that and pull it down some. And if I try and click that point right behind the gizmo there, I have trouble with that. You can't select a point through the move gizmo. So sometimes I have to click on that select tool and then click there. Let me try this. Yeah, there we go. That's looking pretty good. So now we have that fender area. If we zoom out over here, you can see that there's kind of a flat edge right there. So it's kind of flared out just a bit, and then there's that flat edge right there. So we don't really have the flare out currently. And I think we're going to need another edge there to be able to flare this out. So let's go ahead and press Control R and add an edge right in here and maybe pull it down, I don't know, somewhere in here. I could also take these points here and hit G 2 times, and then I'll be able to slide them along the existing geometry. Same with this, G 2 times, and I can slide that down like that. Okay, so now if I select this and Control click this, yep, that did it. Okay, so now if I go back to my Move tool, let's just take this and move these out just a bit to kind of flare that out just a little. We could also hit the 7 key to see how we're doing up here. You can see if I flare this out, there's that flared fender right there. Okay. It's kind of difficult to see, but it looks to me like this part down here isn't flared. So maybe we shouldn't be flaring these down here. So let's take these and bring them back in. Go back to that 7 key and begin bringing these in a bit like this. Yeah, you can actually see it here too from the top view that it kind of flares out there. Yeah, so let's try the front view. Let's bring these in just a bit. There we go. Let's try that. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Now let's get that flattened ridge right there. If I tab into edit mode, let's see what we can do with that. I'll alt click this edge. And what let's do, well, it looks like I've got these off a little bit. Let me put these back before we do anything. It's a whole lot easier to fix it now than to do it after we've extruded. So what let's do is now let's hit E and click, and then I'm going to scale in again. And then I'm going to pull this down like this. And that may be a little bit too much. Let's try that like that. All right. Now I can come in and adjust these points and get them more evenly spaced all the way around here. There we go. Let's try that. Yeah, we've got a little bit of an edge there, but I feel like we need it to be a little bit sharper. So what let's do is let's select this edge, alt-click this edge, and let's make it a little bit sharper. What we can do is actually press Control-E to bring up the Edges menu, and we also have that up here, the Edge menu here. And then we can choose Mark Sharp. So we'll click that. And then if we tab back into edit mode, you can see that edge now is pretty sharp compared to the way it was. All right. So now that we've got this front part of the vehicle, in the next video, let's work on some of the pieces up here in the bumper.